I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at how to love yourself. This is a question I don't think we ask ourselves enough. It's often put out there and suggested that we should be kinder to ourselves, that we should, just blanket statement, love yourself, you should love yourself. But that can be an action. That can be something that you perform as an activity, that you say, hey, I'm going to take this time and this time out of my day and I'm going to love myself. You see what I'm getting here? So we're going to be going over if there's any activities, mantras, mindsets. Maybe there's like a particular color that could boost something positively on a subconscious level. Whatever it is, practical and a little bit subconscious, we're going to be talking about it today. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. Group number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can pick the group that you resonate with most, and I'm going to give you a moment to do so. Now that you have, you can go down the description where you can skip to your designated group and it's marked timestamp. But let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out how to love yourself by looking at the cards. We've got Knight of Pentacles in reverse. We have, 2 5 of Cups. Okay. We have Ace of Wands upright, 2 5 of Cups, and 8 of Swords in reverse. Okay, wow. This is giving me a very clear indication of where you're at. Okay. Let me just look at a few more things to make sure I have all the information, and then I can go into this. Okay. So 5 of Cups upright is repeating twice. So this is really laying out, like I'm getting a clear vibe of what you've been going through for some time. And we'll be going into that because that is important, especially when the Ace of Wands upright in between them pops up. And it also helps better understand you. You see what I'm saying? So this, you can remove some pressure you're putting on yourself. That's a great way of loving yourself. But the 5 of Cups also takes on both an awareness, a temperature gauge, a mood type of thing, but it also talks about some practical applications. So let's get into that first. First off, I want to talk about the idea of perspective going on here. Now, this is a little bit summing it up too simply, but let's just say that right now I can see a perspective is more focused on a glass half empty type of situation and circumstance. Now, that doesn't mean that your emotions aren't valid, that it isn't really difficult, it isn't disappointing. There are maybe a numerous amount of not ideal situations in your life and stuff like that. That doesn't mean your reaction isn't appropriate, maybe even to a certain circumstance accurate. However, no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, no matter both just in when you're living life, but in the confirmation of 5 of Cups, there's always some teeny tiny little beautiful, blissful, happy concept, idea, fun little thing. Now this is not, and this is my spirit guide also added this when they were like giving me additional information. This is not about you needing to, when you go into a circumstance, be like, something like, let's say you have a coworker, right? And you just don't get along with them and you have a shift with them and you're like, oh, like great, I have to work with them. It's not about being like, well, at least blank, blank, blank. You're not ready for that. Also, forcing positivity in this circumstance isn't going to make you happy. You're just going to be hard on yourself when you don't feel that sort of connection to it. That's kind of going 0 to 60. We are not saying that here. But we're more talking about the idea of something really small where you divert your attention from the circumstance altogether. So you go to work, you don't like your coworker, maybe your living situation or something like that, and you experience it and you're like, oh, and then you turn and a customer is just wearing the best sweater you've ever seen in your life or has like a cool tattoo or something like that. Or you go home and you find out there was a little snack you didn't realize you had saved for yourself at another point in time. You found it. It's so exciting, you're going to eat that snack. And it's just so small. And it's a cheerful little kind of concept in time. It can be an idea too that distracts you, like a song or something like that. But whatever it is, you're going to really hone in on it. You're practicing, you have a habit of looking at things a certain way. I want you to remember that. It's a habit. Doesn't mean it wasn't motivated by real feelings and energies, but the action of where you put your attention and prolong it and focus it has become a habit, and we want to build a new habit. And this is where we're building it. We're starting with these small little distractions, you can view them as. And they're just nice. You don't have to feel the greatest sense of happiness and bliss afterwards, but you're just kind of like, yeah, I do like that sweater. It gives you a little like smile, gives you a little moment like, oh, that is cool, I'm having that snack. Take a little second to resonate in it. You know what I'm saying? So we're starting really small. But I want to, where do I want to go with this? I'll come back to the Five of Cups. We're going to come back to this because it's important with what's going on with the Ace of Wands. But we're going to talk about the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This is also another place of where attention is being focused on, and it is not exactly a way of loving yourself. So it's interesting because I very much, my energy right away read this more as like a King of Pentacles, and then I started to correct myself because it was Knight of Pentacles, but my spirit guide said, actually, you do want to read it like King of Pentacles with the overlying theme of Knight of Pentacles. So what does that mean? King of Pentacles is when you, when it's in reverse, is when you hold material things in a kind of hierarchical status. You view your value, like you base your value off of having things. But remember, not everyone is basing their value off of having a certain amount of money or having a certain type of job. Sometimes it's like, I really like this type of genre or style in fashion, and I'm so sad I don't have the right accessories for it. Or like, if I had this, this, and this, I would be happy. Those type of inner mantras and type of thing. But with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, this more talks about the idea of like the greater good, needing to put your attention towards more the greater good. But think of the greater good not in like a societal sense, because right now we're not focusing on the idea of like loving yourself through having like a really awesome morale for society and community. This is more about being aware that when you do things that make you happier in the long run, that is giving you more of a deeper core happiness, and a happiness you're sort of looking for that you're not going to receive right now in the moment from things, the if I had this I would be happy mantra. The if I had this and I'd be happy mantra, almost think of it this way, and this is an abstract way of loving yourself, but it's still valid. It's very valid. Are you putting something on a pedestal, and are you putting yourself down here? If this thing's on a pedestal, it will always be out of your reach. By thinking of things that are for the greater good, often this is easier for us to think of obtaining it. You allow yourself to have it. So like, let's say you do something where you're like, okay, every day I'm going to say nice things to myself in the mirror for like 5 minutes in the morning, or I'm going to go out of my way to have some me time after work for an hour every day. That's like a really nice little sweet thing for the greater good, because in the long run, you're going to notice, you're going to develop some form of a new skill. You're going to notice your confidence go up. You're going to get some rest. Then that's going to kind of pour over into your work and other aspects of your life and love life and stuff like that. And you're going to notice the greater good going on here is the happiness you feel, the elatedness, and how it makes everything a lot easier to experience, rather than if you just received that object. Are you happier? Do you feel better? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, this is not a commentary that you can't go buy those things and enjoy those things in life, but by redirecting your mantra towards things like the greater good for yourself, that's like a big, beautiful thing you can say to yourself before you, like, if you start saying, let's say, like, and not to run on at this, we're going to come back to these things over here. But if you find yourself being like, if I buy this object, I will be happy. If I have this game, I will be happy. Stop. Just put it out of your mind. You can say once to the universe, I'd like to have that thing, and then stop. Leave it alone. The universe is bringing it to you. Leave it alone. And then start saying to yourself, is there something I can do for myself right now in the moment? I can have it at this moment, but what's something that would, for the greater good of my bliss and being kind to myself and loving myself, what could I do? And this should always be something that you can do consistently, long term. It's usually very low key. It could be like every Friday night you have like a cute little spa day for yourself. You know what I mean? Maybe you're regularly going for walks and just really kind of exploring the nature around you. You get what I'm saying here? Redirect your attention there. We talk about redirecting your attention, but also realigning yourself with things that will make you feel better in the long run and things you can have right now. Don't put your happiness and things like a better future for yourself away from you. So you're practicing in a literal metaphorical sense of having what you want now, receiving what's good for you now. So I hope that all made sense. I didn't mean to go on it for so long, but you get what I'm saying here. So now back to the Five of Cups again, surrounding the Ace of Wands. So my spirit guide said, as you put your attention towards these small little objects we talked about and being like, oh, that's a cute sweater. Oh, this new episode of this show I like came out. You know, just kind of giving a moment of redirecting your attention despite circumstances. What happened is this is going to eventually and positively trigger a new energy change. My spirit guide said epiphany and then energy shift. Now, the thing that's really interesting and nuanced about energy shifts and why this is so important to you is Five of Cups double like this, and what I'm being shown and feeling and picking up is someone who's been struggling with a certain type of, it's like a low energy vibe, like not having a lot of energy, not feeling good enough, that type of thing. It's sadness that's very like seeped into your core. It's not something you can shift easily. You've tried. It's been a super big struggle. Everything's been just like blah for you for some time now, and it doesn't feel like you can quite get out of it. You're like, I'm trying. Nothing's quite clicking, so to speak. That's where the energy shift, when it comes in, is going to be a huge help. A lot of people don't express this, but the reason why you'll notice some people maybe one time in their life not connect at all to the ideas of like crystals, or they're like, oh yeah, when I practice this self-improvement thing, I feel so much better. And maybe at one point in their life, they're like, it didn't resonate with them. And then the next time it does, it's because some sort of energy shift came in there. And once it came in there, it made things easier. It's like, wow, I don't know why this is easier now than it was before. It's like, because if you're not like aware or sensitive to these things or aware of these shifts, then how can you positively, you know what I mean? Like, how can you kind of be like, oh, this came in, I'm going to use this to my advantage. So basically, it doesn't mean when it happens, you're going to feel so happy and peaceful. It's that the motivation to be able to continue from this perspective and kind of branch off from it and find more and more motivation to keep doing loving things to yourself in this way, when it pops in from you, doing this enough, what we just talked about, is going to make this happen, which then enables you to have the energy and motivation to continue it on a grander scale. It's sort of like, think of yourself as like unable to get up a hill, and you're just like, I'm trying, yo, I can't get up this hill. And suddenly you've just been given a really great pair of like mountain boots, and they've got spikes in them, and you're climbing up the mountain, no problem. And you're like, wow, this is way easier. That's sort of the vibe. You still got to climb up the mountain. There's still is effort going to be made to really kind of fully pull you out of this. But you're going to get pumped about this basically. Now, I have two more things to talk about with the practice of loving yourself. We talked about perspective changes, both in what you can give yourself now and sort of like nice little loving distractions, because you're basically onslaughting yourself with not fun focus. We're going to put it like that. And it's not helping your emotion, and it's not moving you towards a certain direction you'd rather go. So the two things I want to talk about is the number 5 and over here with the 8 of Swords in reverse. I am so happy to say this is this I'm sorry, I'm picking up this energy like so much, and it's making me really sleepy. It's making me feel like I'm having trouble speaking, like I don't want to talk. That's the vibe I'm picking up. So anyways, gonna try push through that energy. So in the Eight of Swords in reverse, this is our confirmation card that, like, yes, you are going to overcome this. It is going to be a lot easier to resonate and connecting with lovely thoughts towards yourself and wanting to do the best thing for yourself and feeling like you're worth it. And it's just really beautiful. And we love that. But also, my spirit guide said that this is more in a practical terms. So something, again, we talk about you practicing metaphors that have a spiritual concept behind them, but you're practicing them in a literal way because you're sort of like talking to your subconscious, as we talked about over here. You want to pick options going forward, or situations that have a lot of options and freedom behind them. So let's say somebody wants to go out to eat, right? And one place, only has so many, it's just like a few little things, a few little they don't specialize in a lot of different options. I'm trying to avoid the word and come up with new vocabulary, but it's just not coming to me. And then there's another position where you're like, yes, but if we go over in this area, I could choose from 5 different little, like, I don't know, fast food restaurants or whatever. There's all these options. If we go over here, I can get a cup of coffee and we can go to this store next door and, like, I don't know, buy a cool crystal or something like that. You can tell I got crystals on the mind. So anyway, anything that involves more options, more freedom, always see if that is available for you and take it, or redirect the point of interest towards places where there are more options. Even when you're buying something, some stores have tons and tons of options and others don't. Always pick the thing, or at least for now, pick the thing that allows you to have more freedom in your decision making. As you realize you do and you practice that, that's going to be really positive moving you forward, and also teach you on a subconscious level, like, you're worth all the options. You do have tons of opportunity. You're not limited to one state of mind. You're not limited to one future, so on and so forth. Very uplifting, very positive. I love that. And the second thing is the number 5. So my spirit guide said, let the 5s follow you. So 5 is actually an insanely positive, really, 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 really good thing, but it gets a bad rap sheet. People like to focus on 5 meaning like chaos, bad. I often hear this. This is just, the 5 is about change. And sometimes people are resistant of change. And this is why it gets a bad rap sheet. But I want to go further than the idea of change. It's more than that. The way it was shown to me in the Akashic Records is it was like, okay, so there's a number 4, right? And number 4 represents this idea of like a foundation, a baseline foundation, like a house, think of just like the structure, the walls. And 5 is the poking out, or the roof, the starting to begin to question, does the foundation, is this all there is? The number, and so when we sometimes are shifting and changing, it can be, and this can explain why there was an initial reaction of like feeling sad and feeling frustrated that there was a stagnation in your life, and feeling like there wasn't a possibility to get out of that stagnation. It's like you were trying to tell yourself, which is really beautiful. You should give yourself credit. You were tired of this and you wanted the change. You could feel this wasn't serving you anymore and that there was something more out there. But because you weren't getting it, it started to bring you down. You see what I'm saying here? So when you follow the 5s, it could be literally like on a clock. You could see the imagery of it. You could see the option of it. You get what I'm saying when I talk about following the 5s. So number 5 is when you are saying, okay, I see the baseline information I'm being told here. I've got an inspired idea. I want to go beyond that. You start to question the philosophies behind it. You start to question, yeah, I see you're showing me this, but what about this? And it's like the beginning of curiosity is the way it was explained in the Akashic Records. So I think that's really fun and beautiful. And I think that's going to get you really inspired in action. And going on a little bit of adventure in that sort of mental way, it's going to really do you a lot of good. And all of these things are showing you that you're ready for something different, and you're ready for giving yourself that permission. And by giving yourself permission in these methods we talked about, this is a beautiful way of loving yourself. So I love that for you. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, how you are starting to practice this or you are going to start practice this. Also give this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you next one. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's find out how can you love yourself by looking at the cards. Let's see what we have here. We have 8 of Cups upright, King of Pentacles upright, 4 of Cups upright, Knight of Cups in reverse, and Page of Wands upright. Okay. Let me see. We got a bit of a meta thing going on here. Yeah. And we have a little bit of where you're at, how it began, and where you're going. We got past, present, future. I love this. We do talk about practical applications, but it's really important to understand these subtexts of where it began and where it's going, because there's a lot of answers in it within itself. So let's get started first off of where you're currently at. 4 of Cups. You're bored. You're bored. This can be anything from maybe every time you intake some form of entertainment, none of the scenarios really make you feel anything. Maybe every time you see a couple get together, you're just kind of like, okay, whatever. I've seen it before. It normally usually resonates with me. It doesn't now. And it seems like for the most part, you're taken care of. And that's the problem. It's like sometimes when people aren't loving themselves, they're depriving themselves of something. You're not. And you even have access to everything you need, whether you realize it or not. Some things you can easily reach out and get, but there's just not the motivation to do that. And you kind of know if you got it, you don't really care. And what you have, it just doesn't mean anything. So you're just there's a sense of stagnation and wanting to move, but not quite sure knowing how to move. And the idea of going somewhere else, moving somewhere else is a really interesting theme that gets double confirmed over here, but we're going to make sense of that in 1 second. So we got to get you up and going. That is one way to love yourself, to move, get you a sense of evolutionary ideas going on here. So first let's start with we'll start with this and then we'll go back to this. So where you want to go. In the King of Pentacles upright, my spirit guide says that you want to really focus on building some form of strategy. And I was getting specific because I was like, are they going to start a business? Are they going to work towards some hobby? And my spirit guide says it does not actually matter. In fact, it doesn't even really matter if you feel passionate about the thing you're working towards. That's the main issue here, is nothing's really getting you going. What's going to get you pumped and excited is the act of working towards it, the in-between business strategy of it all. So let's say you make a goal and you want to really enter some sort of drawing contest, and you're like, okay, I need to learn how to do that first. And then you start working on practicing how to, draw or paint or whatever. And then you start getting excited, making a calendar, thinking about these are the days you could practice here. These are the days you could do research for like what you want to actually paint or draw. And you're going to look up some cool ideas in Pinterest and stuff like that. And there's this idea of like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And you're, even before you've gotten into it, you do want to go then apply and practically do this. But even the idea of this sort of dreaming, like daydreaming, is a way of loving yourself, because you want to pull yourself out of this. For other people who are really stagnant and like watching too much Netflix and stuff like that, they need to go for a walk. For you, you need to get that kind of creativity going. You know what I mean? You're starting to build up a sense of adventure and movement in a sort of abstract way. Now, when we talk about stagnation, we also want to be aware of like what we're actually doing day to day. So I was like asking my spirit guide, like, oh, should they sit in a different space? Would that work as well? And they said that no, sitting is fine. Like you can keep, like, if you have the one place to sit, because many people are just have like their one bedroom or something like that due to roommates or wherever you're living and stuff like that. Yeah, you can just sit in the same place. Nothing wrong with that. But they did say it would be a good idea if you changed things up, like changed the music you listen to. Do you listen to the same music every time? Do you listen to the same podcast every time? Listen to something different. You kind of need the energy in the room, the kind of vibe. Think of it this way. So let's start with how this all began and how this ties into this idea. So in the Nine of Cups in reverse, what happened is you received too much insincere affection. I asked if this could have been romantic based, and it can be. It really can be. Can it be like friendship though? My spirit guide said yes, of course. Okay, so insincere affection can be anything from like a romantic partner saying that you're so special and great, but on the DL, they're like talking to a bunch of other people. They're just kind of like working you up just for their own ego. You know what I mean? Often this card deals with somebody who's like kind of petting their own ego for how charming they can be to someone else. And so you're just sort of like on like a subconscious level, you can like feel it's not that deep. And even if you were like temporarily caught up in it. And then so it sort of like desensitized you and like jaded you. And this is also counts for like, let's say you have like friends around you and they're like, oh no, we're cool, we're besties. They kind of use these very over exaggerated terminology and stuff like that. And then over time, you're just kind of like, man, I feel something's off. Why did I experience a hangout and I hung out with my friend or this crush or something, and I just feel so empty? And it's sort of, you were picking up, you knew the underlying meaning deep down, and as you picked it up, it started just kind of make you bummed out. Well, whatever you must have been experiencing then, there was a version of you that was sitting a certain way, that was listening to a certain type of music, that was wearing a certain type of clothes, and that hasn't changed. And so an energy got built around that scenario. And then now that you're no longer in the insincere affection that started this sort of boredom feeling, you're still sort of setting the scene. Think of it like a spell. These were the magic ingredients that created this outcome. Let's change up the ingredients so you can have a different outcome. You see what I'm saying here? So again, sitting in the same place is fine, but maybe go be cute and buy yourself like a new outfit so you feel like a new version of you. Do your nails differently. Have fun and style your hair differently. Have fun and listen to a different song. Take a different route to like work or whatever like that. You get what I'm saying. Or maybe you're going out and getting snacks. Drive a different way. You get what I'm saying here? Do something a little bit different as you are approaching this strategy and daydreaming, as you're just like living your day-to-day life. Shift it up a little bit because you're unaware and unintentionally recreating the scenery around incidences that was happening to you, and you're sort of keeping yourself in an energy and mindset that someone else put you in and you were sort of unfortunately took on, and it created this. It happens. What are you going to do? But that idea of insincere affection is really important, and this is why I'm saying it gets really meta. So my spirit guide pointed out how both of these cards, Eight of Cups upright and Page of Wands upright, are very travel vibes. You're going somewhere. You're shifting it up. You're actually you could physically be changing location, or you're sort of like going on an adventure, as we talked about in the King of Pentacles upright, in a metaphorical daydreaming sense. And that's what's really interesting here. So first, in the Eight of Cups, this is sort of like the confirmation card, but it talks about the idea of, see how all these cups are fallen over? And we talked about you being offered cups over here. And you're just kind of like, I've seen all these cups before. But over here, they've all been tipped over. You kind of are like, it's more than being done with boredom and being like, I'm just going to walk away from these cups. You kick them over. You're done with it. You're putting that all behind you in the past. And you're kind of in a really happy gumption kind of like excited way, being like, okay, we're doing something different. I got to change it up. And so there's a sense of, with this door and this eye being here, of looking within yourself for that sense of shift and adventure and going further than you normally would before. Because when we talked about the business strategy, approaching it in different ways, picking a goal, making actions to go there, thinking of all your potential options, that version of yourself is completely different and almost like a location change. Think of this state of mind as a location and this state of mind as another location, and you taking on this mindset is and strategies is the new location change. So we got a bit of an adventure going on, but like within inside yourself. You get what I'm saying here? So we got that going on initially. But then we have an actual sense of travel with the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands represents two different things. So my spirit guide said that what started all of this was emotions, feelings, being told something and feeling something was off. Trying to be given, told you're special or you're amazing or cute or something, knowing and feeling that it wasn't sincere. And what ends up happening through all of this shift and change and perspective is you end up realizing in the end, it's sort of kind of like being your own independent person, like not needing the other person's support in order to feel like the best version of yourself. But it takes on a whole new flavor. Notice we didn't get the Page of Cups here. We got the Page of Wands. You realize that it isn't emotions you want. It's what you want. You feel more motivated right now. You're bored by emotions. You're motivated by energy. And I know this seems kind of abstract because a lot of energies can make us emotionally feel something, but that's like a whole conversation for another day. I did a whole spiritual talks video about it if you want to check out my playlist. But it is more about, and this is the important part, it is more about over here, you needed to be told something. Now you need to feel something. And the way this energy shift feels like to me, this is a little bit hard for me to explain. I wish I could send it to you through my mind in the spirit realm, because in the spirit realm, it's always easier to understand these more nuanced things. Think of a version of yourself at one point in your life and another, and you look at them and there's just totally different vibes there. There's one version of you that's like watching a really cute inspired movie and you just feel like you could take on the world, and you start daydreaming if you lived in that scenario, in that movie scenario, and you're like really just feeling this sense of adventure and dream. And then there's another version of you that doesn't want to wake up in the morning and is just kind of like, ugh, I don't want to go do this thing. And that's a totally different energy shift. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's a totally different version of yourself than it was before. In the Page of Wands, there's this sense of you going, it's more than just being unmotivated, motivated. It's this sense of oh, I really know who I am. I didn't even know this got me excited. I'm somebody who really likes to start projects and go accomplish them. I like that feeling of looking into new things and taking it on. There's just this whole sense of identity understanding your identity in a new way. But the second thing the Page of Wands represents, and by the way, by you realizing this about this energy, you are very aware of this energy change, and the Page of Wands is the representation of you going to explore it even more. So it's more than you feeling better and loving yourself by taking on these new perspectives and looking inside yourself for that adventure and stuff like that and not feeling bored anymore. But the sense of loving yourself continues because you start to really see the value in yourself and understand this change, and you want to understand it more, explore it more, study it more, experiment more, really just kind of go through a beautiful phase where you understand what that means on a greater level. But my spirit guide said this also represents a literal journey that you are going to take, like a physical location change at the end of all of these changes and understandings about yourself. And my spirit guide said this journey will be very significant and will be you greater understanding who you are. It's like life-changing travel, basically. So who doesn't love that? So go find something that gets you excited. Remember, it's more about the strategy than the end goal. Understand you're going inside yourself to take that outside of yourself, and understanding what got you there in the first place is a great way to take the pressure off yourself and stop saying some form of a mantra that's like, oh, how did I get here? Why did I do that? These little put down statements. You can go, oh, I'm just really intuitive and I like picked up on somebody's false, attention, and I'm just aware of that, and I don't want to put up with that, and I want more out of life. Oh, rad. I'm rad. You know what I'm saying? That's a much more fun mantra and the truth. So anyways, please let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear all about it. Also, give this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for next group. Group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out how to love yourself by looking at the cards. We've got 4 of Cups in reverse, the Death card upright, the Hermit card upright, the Moon card in reverse. And the 2 of Wands in reverse. Okay. This is like super destiny bound. Very transformative. Super transformative. I'm going to get into specifics in 1 second. I'm just trying to see if I can pull out any other information. Okay, let's get into this. This is really not the answer I was anticipating, but that is the beauty of tarot cards. Okay, so let's first get started with the Hermit card and the 4 of Cups in reverse. Both are super important with how they revolve around the Death card and where it leads. Yep, we're talking a little bit about future here. So, in the Hermit card upright, I can see that you have been alone for a while, but you are being alone and being kind of put in a position to being alone quite a bit for a very specific reason. Over here in the 4 of Cups in reverse, I can see that there has been, but don't worry, it's changing, boredom, stagnation. Sometimes stagnation leads to feeling kind of blue. And you're just kind of like, I'm bored, I'm spending a little too much time with myself, which normally in the Hermit card, that's like really positive because you're sort of self-exploratory and self-analyzing, which is really good. We're going to come back to that. Hold on. But the idea is you're just kind of like, ugh, what do I do? I'm just kind of like, I don't feel like you're stuck in a rut. That's not the feeling I'm getting. You're just kind of like, and it's not even this vibe. I'm trying to find the vocabulary word for it. It's like I'm not picking up this vibe that you're so stagnant, you're bored and apathetic. And I'm not picking up a vibe you're so bored and stagnant. It's really deeply hitting you at that heart. Things just feel weird and off, and you're just kind of there. You're just kind of like, I don't know, I could use a little zest, but I don't know. I'm not that affected. You get what I'm saying here. But get this. We've got the Death card upright, and all of these cards and their positionings are super significant. So you're going to be going through this super transformative experience. It does imply that a piece of you will be going away forever. But from that sort of transformative experience, a new thing, is this a new part of them? A new action you will take, a new part. It said, yes, my spirit guide said, yes, a new part of you and a new action that will be taken, that will be inspired, come out of you, and this is going to be the new version of you. But do expect that a part of you, a way you define yourself, to go away, gone. Forever? Most of the time, my spirit guide said. But something really important when this card pops up is it is inevitable. It is happening whether you want it to or not. It's already in motion. So you might say, well, how does this all come together? Well, you have been sort of led by the universe where there's spirit guides involved. My spirit guide said a little. So what happened was you were put into a placement to give this the utmost attention because nothing else really matters right now in your life. So a one version of loving yourself is not getting too hard on yourself that you've been alone or overthinking it or thinking like, should I been doing more? Is this okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like none of it was negative. It was meant to isolate you so you could give it full attention. And you see the light being brought onto this and the beautiful little shimmery lights coming from the cause and effect from the lantern. You are meant to dive deeper into this transformation and ask a ton of questions. Why? Where? What does it mean? Why is this happening? If this becomes this and I take on this action, what does that mean on a grander scale? Do you see what I'm saying here? And the sense of boredom and stagnation and other aspects in your life is meant to make you be like, oh, this is so boring. I can't put my attention there. So by default, I'll put my attention over here. So weirdly, you're already loving yourself because on a subconscious level, you're putting yourself and the universe is putting yourself in this position to have all your focus to kind of get the most out of this transformative experience. And this is going to be the most exciting thing. This is going to be the thing that's going to like really just kind of draw all your focus and attention. So it's going to not take very much for you to be like, yes, I want to ask questions. Yeah, this is really cool. Yes, this is the thing that excites me, and puts your full focus there. But we can continue to extend that idea in a really interesting way when we have the Moon card in reverse and the Two of Wands in reverse. So in the Moon card in reverse, this talks about the idea of something being revealed to you. But my spirit guides got super specific. They said, this is something that has existed in your past that was something you were aware of, but it would have been very small and insignificant. Like you were aware of it in passing, but you didn't hold it to greater value. That is going to pop up again. And suddenly, when you realize what it actually means and the greater purpose of it, you're going to have a huge like, oh my goodness, everything's connected. Oh my goodness, the universe, like one of those moments kind of thing, being unaware now and then later that even the smallest, most insignificant things were like a super vital seed to this transformation, to this bigger thing going on. So it's meant to have this sort of like quieting time, lots of quiet time. So you are loving yourself by just doing what you're doing right now because you're leading yourself towards your eminent destiny, basically. So you're looking out for this action that's going to sort of like this inspired, is it inspired action or like an action? Technically both. My spirit guide basically was like, it's an action that you will feel inspired to take, but I don't know, it feels different than inspired action. Like it's so heavily focused on the importance of the action itself and a combination with this information being made. But the Two of Wands in reverse, and this is why I'm telling you this is not the response I was expecting to get, talks about how once you receive this sort of mystery being unveiled to you, this truth being told to you of something you didn't realize had such significance and how it all kind of like added up and was meant to be sort of thing, you will then take this thing and bring it into your future. It's like a really positive sense of like momentum, doing more with it, going out into the world with it. But remember, we didn't get a Three of Wands, we've got a Two of Wands. Two of Wands is very like incubative time, very much like the Hermit. So right now you're sort of sitting in your perfect moment and doing everything you need to do, and everything's going exactly as it needs to be. And this tarot spread is more of a compliment that what seemed like nothing is happening and what seemed like you could be doing more, you're actually perfectly in the flow. You're perfectly loving yourself in the right way, and loving yourself is choosing things that will better you. Loving yourself is being supportive. And so one way you can love yourself is realizing, oh, the other aspects of my life are boring for a reason. I'm spending a lot of time alone for a reason. Being kind to yourself about it, maybe even supporting yourself and being like, yeah, I'm doing exactly what I need to do. Yeah. So you're sort of incubating, getting all of this information, getting it all stored up, getting all your focus there. And then once you have these two things, you're sort of going out into the world and using it and practicing it. And it feels very big, like I said, especially when we talk about the idea of something else going away and something else popping up in its place in a semi-permanent kind of way. So it's very positive, really awesome. Basically, you're already doing great. And this is more about giving yourself that permission and kind of getting excited about what seems like the mundane. But I just did not anticipate it to go in this direction, and I wonder how you feel about that too. Please let me know in the comments below. I I'm wishing you guys the best. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for our final group. Group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out, how can you love yourself by looking at the cards. We've got the Tower card. Okay, it's gonna be one of those kind of tarot spreads. Okay. Okay, oh my god. All right. Let's look at what's going on here with the Tower card upright, Judgment card upright, Wheel of Fortune upright, Chariot in reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Oh my goodness. Let me just move this a little over. I'm sorry, but sometimes you just have to laugh. This is intense. It's very good, I do want to add. I don't want you to have any sense of panic here. Actually, that's like the main way you're going to be loving yourself. This is... Okay, I can just get right into this because, like, I'm downloading information very quickly. So... essentially, this is one of those circumstances where I did not intend the tarot reading to go in this way. And yet, it still is valid and it's important. If you are a fellow tarot reader or learning how to tarot read for yourself, something important to understand is the cards will always tell you what you need to hear, not always what you want to hear. And it's extremely important to be aware of that because sometimes other information will pop in. Keep in mind, it still correlates to the question we're talking about today. That's still the same theme. But it's so great that this happens because you're basically getting the most vital information when you need it right away. You know what I mean? It's actually really fantastic. Not to go on a rant here, but it's like wanting to know, like, oh, what should I, you know, I think I want to date this cute person. What do you think? And the cards are like, I don't care about that. I want to tell you to stay away from this person. And you're like, okay, I guess that's more important right now. You know, it's that kind of vibe. So I'm going to talk about some stuff that will initially seem scary. Hold on, because it leads to a lot of really good stuff. So first, let's talk about the Tower card. Now, you know how I am an advocate for the Tower card not being as bad as people make it sound. But in this circumstance, something big is going to happen. And the way my spirit guide puts it, it is a positive spin though, is initially it will seem like it kind of puts you in a mode of crisis. You will have an emotional reaction most likely initially. It's not the most fun, huge, big shift and change coming. It's like, what? You know, when it happens kind of thing. Now, I want to be clear about this, though. I'm so sorry if that initially makes you scared. Who wouldn't feel that way? But not only does it lead to so many good things, and we can get really specific about it, the way you're going to be loving yourself is how you're approaching this, because we got the Judgment card. So when the Judgment card pops up, and my spirit guide was confirming this is sort of a test from the universe. When this big shift in change happens, you are going to be given, this is your moment to kind of put up or shut up, stand up for yourself type of thing. I don't know if I'd call it stand up for yourself. This is more of like finding the positive out of the difficult or whatever. But I want to be clear here. We're going to get really specific. So, and it leads to a lot of good stuff. So the way my spirit guide put it is like, so when this stuff is initially happening, it's going to be really understandable. You're going to have a reaction and be like, what happened? Why is this happening? Oh my goodness. Like, this is so scary. Oh, what am I going to do now? And it's really important. And the test from the universe, remember when we're given a test from the universe, when we overcome it, when we live up to the challenge, we are better off for it. And there's a huge positive sense of like, oh, I understand the world better. I'm not helpless. I get it. So you're going to not give in to fear. You're going to take a deep breath, and you're going to constantly be asking yourself as this scenario unfolds, this seems like it's a metaphor. What is this metaphor? You're going to kind of let your body and your brain and your emotions have room for like, yeah, I see this is happening, but like there is the potential for like some, like, I don't know if miracle would be too strong of a word, but like there could just be some random bit of good luck that could pop up and save all of this. And because I allowed myself to see that that was a possibility that could happen and just kind of really learn to pull back and not let this take all of my focus, let my brain start thinking this defined my life or whatever, because I slowed down, took a second, that opportunity, that was the test. I allowed the opportunity, good things to come in my life and fix it and smooth it all out. So that means no matter what happens in my life, and this is sort of like the test kind of happening and you living up and having this epiphany through the test of like, oh, so if I let there be opportunity and always see that there's good even in the bad, then the good can happen. So there's never really a big deal if there's bad. You see what I'm saying here? Or like understanding like there's a bigger idea and mentality, and that after you experience the thing, you get more out of the metaphor you're unfolding and understanding, and the thing that was supposed to affect you doesn't really affect you, and then all this other good stuff happens. And when I say like metaphor, it's like, let's say, I'll be honest with you, I do know kind of it's about, but my spirit guide said not to talk about it because they don't want you to like get focused on it. So I'm sorry, I don't normally do that, but I'm trying to like avoid saying certain things. Okay, so I'm so sorry. I apologize. Like, I don't ever do that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But like, let's say, let's say a boyfriend broke up with you or a girlfriend broke up with you type of thing, right? Let's say that. And that is really intense. Maybe you guys had something you shared together or something like that, you had some sort of property together, and that's like a difficult breakup, so it makes it even harder to deal with type of thing, right? But then you'd sit there and like pull back and look at the metaphor and go, interesting. I'm learning that there is some sort of pull and tear around the idea of objects, and that maybe when I look at this object being pulled apart about two other people, maybe I shouldn't see it being owned by two people, but its own object. So theoretically, it can never be pulled apart if I never see it as mine or theirs, and I see it as its own thing. Maybe there's you know what I'm saying? See how you can like build up a really sense of like spiritual philosophy as you're like understanding everything unfolding unto you? But let's talk about this good stuff, because I want to like move that in that direction. So the Wheel of Fortune card and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse and my spirit guide confirmed there will be a really, after this experience, a super high amount of like good luck, fortune, and money, which is so positive. And the reason why this all happened, yes, we get into reasoning, with the Chariot in reverse, this talks about the idea of stagnation, no longer moving. This sort of forced you to stop moving throughout your normal life and kind of stopped you to pause and take a second, because this good luck and fortune would have passed you if you weren't in the right time and right place. So by this happening, you are then in the right time and place and able to receive all these good things. So it's definitely one of those like blessings in disguise. Again, we talk about the idea of being tested by the universe, understanding that beautiful life lesson, and all that positive jazz. And the Ace of Pentacles talks about the money and the sort of like new opportunities coming your way. And the Wheel of Fortune talks about like the karma you've built up in a positive way. Because karma can be like a good thing. It doesn't mean a bad thing. It's like you built up good karma. So you built up good karma. Wait, can I say that? Is that correct? That's correct. Okay, I'm just double checking my spirit guide. Like money, good things coming your way, and it's this huge positive influx. So in the end, the loving yourself scenario that comes in is the part of yourself that is willing to step up to the plate and take the test. The version of you that's willing to see that, yes, something happened, but there is a possibility it will all get fixed and be better. The version of yourself that is able to be kind to yourself, not beat yourself up in the moment when it happens and put blame on yourself. The version of yourself that takes care of yourself and says, okay, this circumstance happened, I'm going to just order some food in and just kind of like take a moment to breathe and take a moment. So I don't want to like freak you out. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be more than okay. But it's important to be aware of these things, so as they unfold, we can use them to our advantage and realize like it's all super a blessing and you're going to be really happy with the end result. But just take a breath. When you have that moment, realize there's something out of here you can get from it. Ask questions. What are the metaphors? Is there always a possibility for good? Is this really forever, or is this just a moment? These are ideas to fathom and tests you'll be taking, so to speak, by just simply contemplating them and living up to them. So you got this. It is happening. It is in the cards. So I'm so excited about all this good fortune and good luck and money coming your way, and the beautiful destiny bound of the universe taking care of you and putting you in a position in order to receive that. The universe has got your back. You got your back. We got your back. It's all good. Please let me know in the comments below how excited you are for your good fortune and everything working out in your favor, no matter what. And also consider giving this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.